I was driving home late that evening when I saw her sitting on the cold sidewalk near the bus stop. She looked thin, tired, and invisible to everyone passing by. Something in her eyes made me stop the car, even though I was already late and exhausted. I took out my wallet and walked toward her, feeling awkward and unsure. I offered her some money and asked if she was okay. She looked up at me slowly, as if surprised that someone had noticed her at all. Her hands were shaking as she took the money. She thanked me in a low voice and then held my wrist for a second longer than expected. Her grip was gentle but firm, like she was afraid I would disappear. She leaned closer and whispered, "Be careful of the man you trust most." Her words were soft, but they sent a strange chill through me. Before I could ask what she meant, she looked away and pulled her coat tighter. I stood there confused, telling myself she was just saying random things. I smiled politely, wished her well, and went back to my car. Still, her words echoed in my head the entire drive home. When I reached our street, I noticed my husband's car wasn't in the driveway. That wasn't unusual, but something about the silence felt heavy. I decided to go for a short walk to clear my mind. As I walked back toward the bus stop area, I saw a familiar figure standing under a streetlight. My heart skipped when I realized it was my husband. He was talking to someone, leaning in close. As I got closer, my steps slowed. The woman he was talking to turned slightly, and I recognized her immediately. It was the same homeless woman I had helped just moments earlier. They weren't arguing or fighting. They were talking quietly, like people who knew each other well. My husband handed her some money, but his face showed guilt, not kindness. I stayed hidden behind a parked car, my heart pounding. I watched as she said something to him, her expression serious. He nodded, running a hand through his hair, clearly stressed. Then she looked around and her eyes met mine. For a split second, I thought she would point me out. But she didn't. Instead, she gave me a long, knowing look. My husband turned around and our eyes locked. The color drained from his face. He looked like a child caught in a lie he never expected to be discovered. I stepped forward, my voice shaking as I asked him what was going on. He opened his mouth but couldn't speak. The silence between us felt louder than any argument. Finally, the woman spoke. She told me she wasn't just homeless. She was my husband's past, a secret he had buried years ago. She had once trusted him too. She explained that he had promised to help her when she was struggling, but instead he disappeared when things became difficult. Her life slowly fell apart after that. My husband tried to interrupt, but I raised my hand. I needed to hear everything. Each word felt like a crack spreading through my marriage. Tears streamed down her face as she said she wasn't there for revenge. She just wanted him to take responsibility, even in the smallest way. She wanted me to know the truth. I felt anger, sadness, and embarrassment all at once. The man I had built my life with suddenly felt like a stranger. His silence said more than any excuse ever could. That night, we walked home separately. I didn't yell or cry in front of him. I felt empty, like something inside me had quietly broken. At home, I packed a small bag and went to stay with my sister. I needed space to breathe and think without his presence clouding my thoughts. Over the next few days, my husband called repeatedly, leaving messages filled with apologies and explanations. I listened to none of them. I needed actions, not words. I went back to the bus stop one evening, hoping to find the woman again. I wanted to thank her for warning me, for giving me the truth when no one else would. She wasn't there, but I left some food and a note anyway. In it, I wrote that her whisper had changed my life, even if she never knew how much. Weeks later, I filed for separation. It wasn't easy, but it felt honest. I chose clarity over comfort, truth over illusion. Sometimes I still think about that night and how close I came to driving past her. Helping a stranger had cost me my marriage, but it also saved me from living a lie. Now, whenever I pass someone in need, I remember that kindness has a way of revealing truths. And sometimes the quietest whispers carry the loudest.